Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon, depending on where you are in the world. You're very, very welcome to the Royal College of Physicians Diploma in Paediatrics. This is the webinar that will give you an overview all about the programme and experience from one of our existing students. So the running order for today is that Mr. Diarmaid Brannock will give an overview of the programme, and he will just give you everything you need to know in terms of the content and the curriculum, the hours of commitments, the tuition fees, and the entry requirements, all of those very important FAQs. And he's joined by Dr. Mark Rollins, who is one of our leading academics on the programme. Thank you for joining us, Mark. And he's a consultant paediatrician. And then we're going to hear from one of our students as well, Dr. Mercy, who is joining us and has been on the programme, and will be telling you in detail her own experiences, because nothing is more important than hearing from the individual. There's Mercy, and make you co-host, Mercy. So someone who has done the programme, it's so good to hear from them and their own experiences and how they found the programme, because it's hearing from a fellow colleague, I think, is so important. So actually we might start with you, Mercy, and Diarmaid, I'll hand you over. You can have a chat.
Brilliant. Thanks so much, Rebecca, and great to see everyone here this evening, or this afternoon as the case may be. It's a dark and cold morning here in Ireland. We're delighted to chat to you about the Diploma in Paediatrics. I'm joined this morning, or this evening in her case, by Dr. Mercy James. Mercy, how are you doing? Oh, is Mercy able to hear us, I wonder? Can you hear us okay, Mercy? No, from the look there, it looks like she's having a little audio trouble. We'll give her a second to get that working. In the meantime, Mark, do you want to introduce yourself to everyone here?
Yeah, hi everybody, and thanks for joining us at this unique online program on paediatrics, of which, if you attend and engage, you will get the Diploma of Paediatrics, which Diarmaid will explain to you is a worldwide recognized certificate and qualification. I've been a consultant pediatrician for 30 years. I'm based and still working in the UK. I've trained in London, Edinburgh, Dublin, and North America, and lecture in various universities and teach and train students, trainees, and examine membership paediatric exams in the UK and Ireland, and also Diploma of Child Health. So, like a lot of my fellow tutors, we have a lot of experience in teaching and training, and what we're trying to do is really give you an insight into the latest up-to-date teaching of paediatrics on evidence base. The program, as again Diarmaid will explain further, is really for those who want to update their knowledge in paediatrics. Some of the candidates that are involved have more paediatric experience than others. Some, their only paediatric experience may or may not have been in their medical undergraduate. We have some candidates on the program who are paediatricians in training or are working as senior doctors in specialties that see children and want to update their skills. And even we have consultant paediatricians who have been on it, but we cater for everybody. We bring everybody along. And again, we're here for a modern day teaching of the latest in paediatrics. And we feel as students, we've been at this now for a couple of years, get a lot out of our teaching and training, and we have fun doing it as well. We want to make it engaging and enjoyable, and certainly our feedback has been excellent, and it's fairly unique training. And we look at conditions from all around the world. It's not just wholly for Europe or Asia or America. Like a lot of things in medicine, we're getting closer together, we're sharing our ideas, and this is to give you an idea of modern day pediatric training.
Brilliant. Thanks so much for that introduction, Mark. And I think you're right. It's all the world is getting much smaller in terms of how we look at medicine. Mercy, you can hear us now, okay? Brilliant, brilliant. Do you want to introduce yourself to the group, Mercy, and just give it a little background as to who you are and where you are? Oh God, hang on. Mercy's audio is gone. I think we can't hear you now. We could a minute ago. It was definitely working a second ago. Oh, unmute. That.
Should we progress with the programmatic overview while Mercy is seeing if she can get the tech sorted?
Yeah, exactly. I think that's a good idea. So what I'll do while Mercy's getting her audio working is I'll share screen here, and what we're going to do is give you a really comprehensive overview of the program and hopefully answer as many questions as you have on it. So as I go through this, please ask anything that you would like in chat, and then we'll bring Mercy in during the course of this because it is really valuable to hear from somebody that's actually on the program and going through it, and what I suppose what it feels like for them and what their motivation for doing it is. So one of the first things that you're going to notice about this program is you're going to see iheed alongside the Royal College of Physicians. So to introduce who iheed are in this particular equation, we are an Irish company. We're actually part of the Cambridge Education Group in the UK. But effectively, we're specialists in online medical education. And since 2013, we've been working with ministries of health and health regulators all across the globe to increase capacity and capability in health systems. So we have a family medicine residency program with RUMC in Malaysia. We've done all of the national health workforce training in Qatar. We've got academies for family medicine and maternal health in Saudi and UAE. So we've got a very rich experience of working across the Middle East and Asia in healthcare, as well as obviously in Ireland and the UK. Effectively, what we do is we partner with institutions like the Royal College of Physicians to bring their qualifications to a global audience and to design programs with them that are exceptionally high quality online learning experiences. And we've had over 400,000 course completions to date, and that's everything from short programs like the pediatrics program right up to our residency programs and master's programs, etc. So the College of Physicians needs very little introduction. They were founded in 1654. In Ireland, the College of Physicians is the postgraduate training body that trains and then oversees all medical specialties apart from family medicine. So all of the specialist training programs in Ireland are run by RCPI. The Faculty of Paediatrics was established in 1982, and this program is the latest iteration of the post qualification programs that they have in pediatrics, and it's been a phenomenal success over the last few years. I suppose if you're going to be a consultant pediatrician like Mark is, that is a minimum of 8 years of basic training, higher training, and exams as you go through. I think, Mark, what made us choose to give a 6-month qualification in pediatrics? Why is this A, required, and B, so valued by people?
Yeah, I think as you've highlighted, Dermot, there is higher specialty training, and like all specialties in medicine, which takes quite a few years. We're not in this course trying to train you to be a consultant pediatrician, but give you a flavor of pediatrics, which is incorporated in the training that I did. And I'm proud of my Diploma of Child Health, which I undertook during my specialty training and core training for it. Traditionally, the Diploma of Child Health or Diploma of Paediatrics was doctors working in primary care, family practitioners who were coming across patients and wanting to update their skills. This program is geared not only for them, but for others in medicine who want to improve their pediatric experience, whether it's on a refresher basis. But the good thing about this diploma is you will have a formal qualification, which you will be able to put beside your name and will be recognized. And from that, it can't put you towards qualified to see children. However, it depends what country looks at your qualification. As it says on this slide, it doesn't confer specialist status, but it does confer a in-depth training program, which I'm now starting to recognize with people on interviews to see that I don't have to say, what's your pediatric experience when I see their Diploma of Child Health or Diploma of Paediatrics beside their name, because they've gone through an intensive program of up-to-date evidence-based pediatrics.
Absolutely, and I think the point you make, Mark, about the audience that comes on this program, and it was initially anticipated that yes, this would be primarily for family doctors or people at the very start of pediatric training. And what we've seen over the last few years is actually, about 10% of the enrollment every time is emergency room physicians or people working in anesthesia and areas that are related to children, but not family medicine and not pediatric training itself. And that's, I think, one of the questions we're bound to get asked is the difference between this and the Diploma in Child Health. And I think what you spoke to there, Mark, of this is an education experience as well as the formal exam and qualification, and having that mix of medical professions within the group is really, really positive. That when you've got family doctors and people in pediatrics and people in emergency medicine all in the same group having conversations about clinical cases, it leads to really, really interesting debate. As Mark said, the qualification is recognized worldwide. So, the Royal College of Physicians they are a global brand. They have a fantastic reputation. There are doctors from all over the world come to Ireland every year to train with the College of Physicians in their residencies and fellowships. So you get the academic award that's recognized everywhere. You also get a CPD certification, and in the vast majority of countries that will take care of your CPD requirements for the year. So if it does depend on where you're based. So if you're in Qatar, they give you 36 hours CPD. If you are a little bit away in Abu Dhabi, had to give 96 hours. So it varies by country as to where you are, but either way, you will generally take care of your full CPD requirement for the year. In terms, again, Mark, coming back to, what have we chosen to cover in this program? And, bearing in mind the audience, what have we decided to look at in the 6 months that this program takes place?
Yeah, again, we don't want to get so much in detail training consultant pediatricians. It's to bring everybody on board. We look at the whole field of pediatrics, and as stated there, whether that's acute care, community care, obviously common presentations, screening, disability, development and growth. But we cover over the 22 weeks, as Dermot will go through with you, the different sort of topics that are common and which you all will face If you're a family practitioner, up to 40% of your patients will be children. So we have to look at all aspects. And again, we have tutor-led discussions, we have assessments, and it's all interactive. And again, if you engage and if you turn up, you will receive your diploma at the end of it. All our materials are evidence-based, and we also, in addition, give you access to supplementary reading if you want to look in more depth at certain topics.
Yeah, and that's a good point that we'll come to, that you don't need textbooks, everything is given to you. So in terms, actually, Mercy, is your audio working now? Can we see? Can we hear Mercy? Rebecca, is Mercy co-host?
Yep.
So should be.
Hello.
Hey, Mercy, how are you? It works.
At last.
It's great to see you.
Thank you, Rebecca. Thank you, Diamond. And thank you.
Sorry for all the messing this morning.
That's okay. There's a daylight saving in Australia. Daylight saving, so an hour it changes.
That is literally what we figured out. Mercy, do you want to introduce yourself to the group? Do you want to just give a little background as to where you're from?
I'm an international medical graduate from India, but then settled in Melbourne, Australia. I worked as a GP in the Middle East, in the Sultanate of Oman, for more than a decade. And my greatest desire was to do a postgraduate degree, but due to life situations, I couldn't. And I had moved here now. And iheed and RCPI made what is impossible for me possible through this diploma. And I'm really happy to join the course. Even COVID, the lockdown made it possible. Otherwise, I wouldn't have would not have been able to join the course. This course has been really helpful. To me, it is 100% online. So I don't need to do any face-to-face or go to a college or travel, but then everything is at home. And I could manage my family as well as do my studies and update myself. So I'm happy for that.
That's one of the things I was going to ask Mercy. So you're now 2/3 of the way through the program, I think.
Yeah, I finished in November.
Yeah. So how has it been juggling family and work and studying at the same time? Because I think that's something that people are likely to be apprehensive of is, will they be able to complete the program while not dropping anything else?
The course has been really very simple, light and easy, not like reading through a lot of books, but then everything is simple and easily digestible, available, everything there. All you need is an hour or two per day of studies. That's enough. And what you studied is being refreshed weekly classes. It's all just refreshed and you complete everything. So it's very simple and your study.
And tell me, how have you found the interaction with your group and the weekly tutorials? What has it been like to be, you're in Melbourne, you're in a group with people that are in Malaysia, Singapore. What's that dynamic been like?
These discussions with our tutors and with our colleagues, it brings out their way of treatment there, the protocols they follow, and it enlightens us. In different countries, it's different. And the different type of cases and the protocols are different. So it's lovely. Even the last class, a student from Malaysia was telling us how to go about it in a different way. So plenty of positive feedbacks we do get.
Yeah. And in terms of actually, let me come to the assessment first, because again, when people are considering a course, one of the things that they look at is, well, what's the assessment going to be like? Is it going to be hard? Is it going to be fair? How have you found the assessment so far?
I did well. It was case based, like the multiple choice questions. It's just like how you would handle a case in your OPD or in your emergency is what they're training us here. And the exams too is MCQ based, and it just follows the same protocol. So then you will know what is the first step, the next step, and then the final step. It's all easy, so it's well taught.
Yeah, brilliant. And I think that that is really important, that the assessment is reflective of what you are taught on the program, and that it's, you know, it's I think the RCPI would say it's a fair assessment, not maybe not an easy one, but they do think it's fair. And what they don't want to do is surprise people in the assessment. They want to make it reflective of the content that you've looked at. And I suppose the final piece to look at, Mercy, is it helping your patient care? Is it improving the knowledge that you have? Is it affecting how you're dealing with children and their parents?
Yes, some things that I did not know before, I'm able to understand through the course, like counseling, and the red flags, and the first step to do in a critically ill patient. These are all, they educate us very well. And that is going to be really useful. Now I can boldly say after the course, I would be able to assess a child, manage and investigate appropriately.
And that, I mean, I think as Mark summarized at the start, that's the exact aim, is that somebody coming off the program has greater confidence in doing that. And that's the most important part of the qualification. What it puts on your CV and everything else is nice and important, but I think the primary piece here is that it improves patient care. Mercy, the final thing I'd ask, and thank you so much for coming on this evening, is if you were going to give somebody advice as they were starting the program, what advice might you give them about how to approach it?
How to approach in the terms of
how to approach returning to study and the course. What advice would you have for somebody, or what guidance would you give them?
No, I would like to tell every doctor there that the course is very simple. You needn't take, it's not an extra burden. Like, as a regular courses I used to attend, it was really burdensome, and I need to travel, and all that is cut short. And you can spend an hour a day is sufficient. And the study material is video. You get animated videos and MCQs and flow charts, diagrams. It's colorful, and it's not heavy on you. So
no, I was going to say I'll show some of the platform in a while, because I think that's a really important point, that we are very conscious that a lot of online education can be dull, can be, just pages of PDFs or PowerPoints. And we've spent a lot of time making sure that the content is engaging, that it's immersive. And we're very conscious that, this is an international program. For many people, English is not their first language, and this course is through English. So we need to, we need to make sure it's accessible. But Mercy, thank you so much for coming along. I think it's so valuable when people hear somebody that's currently going through the program and how they're finding it in terms of the experience. It's it's a lot more credible than listening only to me speak about it. So look,
I'd like to say one more thing, that I was very happy to say, when I attended the meeting before. I think you said you would get the diploma certificate at the end. It would be diploma in pediatrics, and there would be no online written on it.
No, that's really important.
So I'm very happy to have that certificate. It's worth the money I'm spending.
Yeah, and I think that, again, you raise a really valid point. The College of Physicians does not differentiate between the standard of this program because it's online and the standard of any program that they would offer face-to-face in Ireland. It's the same curriculum, it's the same learning outcomes, it's much better online materials because you've got an entire learning experience that you don't get if you're sitting in a classroom, but the standard of assessment is the same. So yeah, I completely agree. It's and as you say, the qualification you get is simply a diploma in paediatrics. It's not differentiated by anything else. Right, Mercy, thank you so much. I'm always conscious of the clock ticking on these things.
Yes.
I will get back to the presentation here, and Mercy, don't feel you have to stay to listen to us talk about the program that you already know.
Thank you, Diarmuid, and thank you, Rebecca. Thank you, Dr. Mark, and thank you, doctors. All the best. Thank you so much, Mercy. Bye.
So I think Mercy's given us some brilliant insight into into how she's found the program. And the way we structure this program is to make it really accessible to people that are full-time clinicians and part-time learners. So it is structured into 3 blocks. The first block is a reasonably gentle introduction of 6 weeks. And then the second and third blocks are 8 weeks each. And Mark will take us through kind of what the main topics of coverage are and why, and then I'll deal with the assessment at the end of it.
Yeah, so again, we feel we can do the program over a 22-week period, and there's gaps to have a break in between. So the first block, which is just 6 weeks, is really like anything, an introduction. We get an induction, get to know each other. I really enjoy meeting my group that I'm going to be with for those 22 weeks. And like all our topics and tutorials, we always have a few minutes just to chat what everybody's doing around the world. And it's good fun. So we kick off with a very important aspect, the history taking, and of course, general examination of the child. I would point out neonatology is not involved. We talk about a few neonatal things, but it's really infants and children. We're not getting into a specialism and worried about looking after premature babies, which isn't relevant to the majority of us in pediatrics. Recognizing the sick child or the critically ill child, and we give various presentations. Again, this is just to be aware if you're in a situation, whether in family practice or elsewhere, of coming across a sick child and how to deal with that situation. Then getting into specific areas of respiratory, both upper and lower respiratory tract issues, chronic respiratory issues, ENT problems, skin conditions, and then the last of our initial block is starting to look a bit at how we assess children from a developmental aspect and mention cerebral palsy. And then we go on to a mock exam and some how we assess you on this. Dermot will talk about that shortly. Second block is 8 weeks, and so we're up and running. Immunizations and vaccines, obviously very relevant with the current situation. And if you want to know anything about COVID in children, we'll talk about that. Childhood infections all around the world, and it's important we're all aware of all infections around the world because children and families do travel. Renal issues, enuresis, disorders of the renal tract. Obviously, child protection is still important all around the world, depending what culture you're from. Growth issues, whether that's failure to thrive, or short stature, or precocious puberty or delayed puberty. And then we talk about a few sensory issues, hearing, vision, and then sleep, and then some touch on developmental issues and behavioral issues, ASD and ADHD. last block then is just finishing off genetics, diabetes, abdominal issues, fits, feints, funny turns, red flags in cardiology if you're worried about children presenting with chest pain or palpitations. Allergies are out there, need to know the sort of common understanding and management of allergies. And then we finish off with a few sort of pediatric surgical things we come across with lumps and bumps and lips and undescended testes and tummy pains and things. So you're aware of that.
Yeah. And so I think what you're seeing is a very comprehensive overview of kind of the common conditions, things that you need to not miss, and you know, things that are really everyday presentations that you're going to get. In terms of the assessment of the program, then I'll come to that, and then I'll come to what the actual what the kind of weekly experience is like. So the assessment on the program, there's two pieces of assessment. The first is that you do what we call a skills portfolio. So the College of Physicians are interested in two things. They want to look at your clinical decision-making skills, but they also want to look at your communication skills. So what we ask you to do in the skills portfolio is to upload a very short video of how you would approach a particular patient case. So it might be explaining a diagnosis to a child, it might be breaking bad news. The first one we do is generally on how you would take a comprehensive structured history, and that is simply you recording onto your phone. Sometimes you'll need an actor, not a real patient or a parent, you know, a colleague or a friend. Sometimes you'll need an actor, and other times you'll just be recording onto your phone. And that really gives us insight into the communication skills as to how you would approach this. The exam then, as Mercy said, the exam is a clinical decision-making test of knowledge. So really what we're looking to see in the exam is that if we present you with a particular patient scenario, that you will know the appropriate next steps in investigation, in diagnosis, in treatment, or in referral. And the exam is linked very much to the content of the program that you have studied. So to Mark's point, if you turn up and engage with this program, there's absolutely no reason that you won't make it through the exam. So in terms of, you know, that's kind of the structure of the what the program covers in the assessment. But in terms actually of how it's covered, so there's a pattern to each week. So we'll start you off with an induction week, and that induction week is very much to get you familiar with the supports that are available on the program, with who your tutors are, with the online content, and really just to get you comfortable before you start into that week one of history taking. Each week then follows a pattern where we'll start with a case discussion. And normally this is a clinical case where, much like the exam, and it's very good preparation for the exam, we'll present you with a clinical case and ask what the next steps in that are. And you discuss that back and forth with your group during the week. At the same time, you are going through the e-learning content of the program, and the e-learning content is absolutely spectacular. If we have time, I'll go through it in detail in a couple of minutes, but effectively it is bespoke content that's been developed solely for this program. As Mercy said, you know, it is very visual, it's very interactive, it's really focused on patient cases and clinical decision making. And I suppose what it's not is pages and pages of flash text. It's very visual, it's very interactive. So you engage with that content as you want during the week. And then towards the end of the week, so if you're in Asia, it's usually a Thursday evening, or if you're in the Middle East, it'll be around this time on a Friday morning that you come together for a weekly tutorial with your tutors. And the tutors that you will have in the program are phenomenal. They're all consultant pediatricians from Ireland and the UK. They've all got an incredible amount of experience, both in terms of pediatrics and education. And they're a lovely bunch of people to top it off. So that small group environment is really important. That you're coming together each week with a group of 20 odd people and having a case-based discussion on how you would manage different pediatric issues. And then at the end of each block, you have the exam that I've briefly touched on there. So this rhythm of I contribute to a discussion whenever I want. I go through the online content at my own pace. What it means is that the majority of your work on the program you can do at your own time and pace. And really, the tutorial on a Thursday evening or Friday morning is the only time that you need to be available at a specific point in time. That said, every one of these tutorials are recorded and are available for you to watch back afterwards. So in terms of what it feels like to study, just because this is an online program, we don't just take a limitless amount of people onto it. We maintain a tutor to participant ratio of about 1 to 25. So you're in a small group and you'll get to know that group extremely well over the course of the program. The 3 blocks, the structure of that is really well paced. It's, doing this program in 6 months is just about the right level of intensity for most doctors. That said, it is a very flexible structure. We've had people that, if they need to pause, they can do that and then come back a couple of months later. So there's a lot of flexibility built into it. When we speak to people about how much study they're putting in to successfully complete the program, it's generally about 5 hours a week. You'll spend about an hour on that discussion forum activity. You'll spend about an hour going through the e-learning content online, and you'll spend an hour at your tutorial. Whatever else you do then in terms of other reading or study or preparation for your assessments, we think it's in that kind of 5 or 6 hours a week. And some weeks will be lighter than other weeks, but certainly it is designed, and it's important to note that this program isn't online because of COVID. It was designed to be online, and it's designed that everybody on it is a full-time clinician and a part-time learner. And then, all of this is underpinned by an amazing support structure. So the program leader and the tutors are an incredibly dedicated bunch of people. As I said, they're all pediatricians and they are all expert in their field, but they've also got a huge amount of empathy for people that are undertaking study on a part-time basis. You'll see someone from the program management team on every single one of your tutorials. So there's always somebody to ask a question of. There's always somebody to bounce something off if you're uncertain. There's also a technical support team that sit largely quietly unnoticed in the background because the content and the platform and everything, it tends to just work. And over the last year, everybody's gotten used to Zoom. So in terms of eligibility and fees and everything like that, so the base entry onto this program is that you have to be a medical doctor. And so that sets a very good bar for where the tutors can position all of the content. So everybody coming onto the program is a medical doctor. You're not coming to Ireland to study, which means you don't need a visa, which means you don't need a formal English language assessment. You do, however, need to be able to complete the program, which is conducted through English. So the way we will make ourselves comfortable that you have the required standard is through the personal statement that we ask you to write. So we'll ask you to give us a 500-word personal statement, as well as your undergraduate certificate and your photo identification. And so it's a really, really straightforward application process. The fee for the program, again, the Royal College wanted to make sure that this program is accessible to most doctors around the world. So the fee is €2,500. You book your place on the program by paying a €500 deposit. You can then either pay the fees, obviously upfront, or in installments of 2 or 4 payments across the program. And that fee is set by the college in the hope that it is accessible to most people, and there aren't any other scholarships available. What I would say about the deposit is this program is oversubscribed every single time we run it. So if you are interested, we would advise applying sooner rather than later. The program has been massively successful since this iteration of it was launched online. So it's just under 1,000 learners now from 41 countries. The engagement statistic shows us that whether people are attending the tutorials live or watching them back afterwards, and their involvement with the platform and the discussion forum, the vast majority of people are able to make most of this program, which tells us that the design is suitable for people that are busy clinicians. The feedback that we get is amazingly positive, almost embarrassingly so. When we ask on a 5-point scale how satisfied people were with various things, what we get on the learning experience and the support is always 100% giving either agree or strongly agree, which gives us that statistic. And 97% of people that have started the program have finished it. So, the completion, as Mark said, if you turn up, if you engage with the program, there's absolutely no reason to think that you won't qualify. It's a very well structured and well supported.
Yeah. If you just support that, Dermot, again, at the end of the day, you want to complete and pass and receive your certificate. Those that haven't managed to do so clearly don't engage. And if you engage and take part, you'll have no problem passing. And so again, some of us aren't great examinees, and don't worry if you happen to possibly fail part of or all, you'll get ample opportunity to resit, and those that have resat and engaged pass. It's those that haven't engaged run into problems.
Absolutely, Mark. I think the assessment is incredibly fair. The average, and I think when it comes to completion rates and pass rates, the pass rates on every individual assessment is above 90%, and I think that's you can have incredibly talented, diligent doctors like Mercy who would say it's easy, but I think it's a factor of the assessment is fair, the education experience leading to that assessment is really high quality. But then going to my previous point, everybody on this program is a medical doctor. The standard coming in of the participant is extraordinarily high, and that as a learning experience is really, really positive. So I'm going to finish up the presentation in a second, and then we'll kind of get into questions. So to summarize, it's 22 weeks of study, and there's really kind of sensible breaks built within that. So the program is about 6 months long, start to finish. It's only open to medical doctors. And Mark's brought us through all of the different areas of coverage that you will, at the end of the program, A, feel a lot more confident in, but B, have something that you can demonstrate to an employer or a prospective employer that you have a level of ability in pediatrics. The online experience is second to none. It is absolutely phenomenal. The award, the diploma from the College of Physicians, as Mercy said, it is a standard diploma from the College of Physicians. It does not mention online learning, it does not mention distance learning, and it doesn't differentiate between this and any of their other programs. And in terms of recognition, there's been a few questions in chat, I think, about recognition. So the program is recognized globally. we go back to what we said at the very start. It doesn't give you specialist status. You can't think a 6-month program will give you a scope of practice change or a specialist pediatrician status. However, what it says to your patients and to your employers is that you have a formal qualification in pediatrics, and to Mercy's point, that you then have absolute confidence in how you are investigating and treating patients. And when it comes, and Mark, you might touch a bit more on this, when it comes to somebody either going on to matching for a residency program or looking for a job in the UK, as Nadia has put up on chat here, there are a couple of core postgraduate qualifications that people get, and a diploma in pediatrics or child health is one of them, and it makes your CV stand out from people that don't have it. Mark, is that a fair summary?
Yeah, I interview a lot of trainees, some experienced, some inexperienced in pediatrics. I'm relying on what they tell me or where they have worked, but the evidence tops it all by actually seeing a diploma. So they've actually taken the time to study and prove that they're able to look after children. Another point, Dermot, is just things happen in our lives. So you will not be able to attend all 22 weeks, and we understand that. Don't panic about that. Yes, you are recognize whether you actually attended a certain tutorial or not. But if you're unable to make 1 or 2 tutorials because of issues, things happen. It's not a problem. Or if you want to take a break and come back, or happen to miss, that can be done. We're worried we want you to complete it, but and most of you do within the time. Dermot said about 5 or 6 hours a week studying. That sounds an awful lot, but a lot of it is just actually quite good fun reading. It's like doing reading material, and some can do it less than 5 or 6 hours, but it shouldn't be a big, if you do a couple of hours in the evening during your working week, and maybe an hour or 2 at the weekends, and that should be enough to take in the material and understand it.
I think that's a really good point, Mark, and it's worth showing the platform. So the platform here is showing you each of the week's content, and I'll just randomly go into let's go into renal issues, and all of the content is available to you at the start of the program. It is every week is going to link you to the learning outcomes. This sets the boundaries of what you'll be assessed on. As you can see, there's lots of, I'll just turn the volume down.
The kidneys filter waste and extra water out of the blood to make urine. The urine flows from the kidneys down the ureters.
So I won't go into all of that, but it's full of video animation specifically developed for the program. The audio transcript is there. So, we do everything for language ability for people whose first language isn't English. It's very, very visual. It's very interactive. There's lots of kind of clinical tips within it. And then once we go through the kind of the core content, we'll get into patient cases very, very quickly. So what you can see is, the platform is extremely interactive. It gives you really, really comprehensive coverage. There's nice reflective exercises built in, and it'll link you out. Sorry, I was going to say to supplementary reading, to clinical guidelines, and then it will get into interactive cases, and each of these is a case that then you're going to work through and investigate. So to Mark's point, when we say you'll spend an hour or two on the online platform, it's an incredibly enjoyable hour or two, and it's a very, very rich learning experience. So, in this, we're getting the background of the patient case, and then we're going to be asked, well, what's concerning here? And I got one right and one wrong, and it'll tell me why I got it wrong. And then, we'll get into history taking. And this is an interactive case that will build up and build up. So what you're experiencing when you're going through the program is a really, really rich online learning experience and really, really visual. So just going back to the summary then. So 22 weeks of study over a 6-month period, and then the value that you get from that and the confidence in clinical decision making is immense, and the feedback that we get from our participants is absolutely fantastic. This program, as I say, it is oversubscribed every time that we run it, and the next intake will fill, and it'll fill pretty quickly. So if you are interested, we'd be delighted to welcome you, but would advise you to apply sooner rather than later. So I'll stop share here. And sorry, the piece that I think was coming in chat, Rebecca, that I want to go back on is actually recognition and accreditation. So someone was asking. Yeah, so someone was asking which Middle Eastern countries recognize it. So we have alumni from Oman, from Saudi, from UAE, from Qatar, from Kuwait, from Jordan, from Lebanon, and Egypt, and that's off the top of my head. And they have all got CME recognition for it.
Yeah, but can I qualify, Rosina? I was answering Rosina on private chat there. The Saudi Commission, had they already awarded CME?
Yeah, so I was going to say, so the Saudi Commission is a pretty unique case. They treat online programs differently. So what happened with the Saudi Commission was the first intake that we had, our first Saudi graduate, they submitted a full application to the Saudi Commission for retrospective recognition of the program. So they gave the Saudi Commission the award. They asked lots of details from us on the curriculum and the coverage and the teaching and assessment strategy, and they submitted all of that to the Saudi Commission, who subsequently then gave them the CPD recognition. So there are some countries where, but now that precedent is set in Saudi, I think it's a lot more straightforward for the doctors that have come after them, and that was. They did that about 9 months ago, and we've had many Saudi-based doctors go through the program since. Other countries, it's far more straightforward. So Dubai, Abu Dhabi, Qatar, Kuwait, all of those, it's just recognized straightforwardly. So the other one then that was asked was Pakistan. The Pakistan Medical Council. They have a role to oversee specialist training, and while this is in pediatrics, it doesn't lead to a specialist status. So again, the recognition there is purely for CPD. It's not for anything else. And it is important that we're honest with people about what the program gives you and what the program doesn't give you. And it won't give you a specialist status, but to all of the points that Mark made about the standing that it gives you and what it looks like on your CV, particularly for anyone that's going for matching or for a residency program or for another position, that it says very clearly that you have proficiency in this area, and it's one of this and a women's health qualification. They're one of the the common postgraduate offerings that people do. So yeah, sorry, the other question that came up there was, is it all animations? No, there's a combination on the platform. The one that I clicked into just happened to have lots of animation in it. So there are lots in it. It is obviously a lot easier sometimes with children for sensitive things to use an animation rather than something real life. And obviously your tutorials every week are discussing real life cases in person. Yeah, so I'm sorry, James has just answered that as well. So is there anything else that we've missed? Can you access the study materials after the end of the study time? Yeah, so you generally get access. You get access for about 4 or 5 months after the Board of Examiners, which happens after the last exam. So you generally have access to the materials for about a year, and they're constantly refreshed and constantly kept up to date, which is why it is important that we don't leave people with access to older materials. But yeah, very, very good question. But you get everything that you need. What a lot of the students on this program do, though, is as they're going through the program, they're kind of compiling their own reference material and their own guides to various pieces. So they're taking content from the platform, from their tutors, and they're ending up with their own effectively pediatrics manual. I think what is important is that we don't, and there are plenty of good pediatric textbooks out there, but we don't recommend that you buy a textbook particularly unless you really want to. All of the content that you need, all of the knowledge, the background, and the cases that you need, everything is given to you within the platform.
Just to mention on tutors, for consistency, you have the same tutor right the way through, so there's not different tutors coming on each week. And so it's good fun. We build a rapport. I'm actually quite emotional after 6 months because I get to know my group of 25, having to say cheerio and look forward to hearing back how they get on in the world with their pediatrics. But it's the same tutor. It's not different tutors for different topics. So everybody can liaise with that person. And again, in between tutorials, we're happy for you to send individual texts if there's anything you don't understand or want to review, or any issues with the program. And then if we're unable to solve that, we link in with the administrators.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that you're right, Mark. The bond that you form with people and that network that you form, 6 months is a long time to see people every week, and you get to know them really, really well. You get to know your tutors really well, and there's a group that's finished now about a month ago, and I was the person who sat in on all of their tutorials. So someone on the team sits in on every tutorial. They happen to be the group that I sat in on, and I got to know them all really well. And it's a fantastic experience, and it's great to see them go on and use the qualification. So Rebecca, I think we've probably dealt with most questions. So
well, we have actually. I think everything's been answered. Some people were left in the wait room and you couldn't see that they were in the wait room. It was a bit of a glitch. So apologies for that. Please accept our apologies. You couldn't see anybody. There was no number count there. So please accept our apologies. There was a few that took a while to get in. So just to let you know, everyone, that obviously the next intake is on the 31st of October, and that is looming quickly. And we are filling very, very, very fast. And we do, as Jim had said, always oversubscribe. So if you are interested in going ahead and proceeding to application, we would advise that you pay your deposit as soon as you can. After this webinar, we will be sending you a link to the recording from today, and a link to the application form, and a link to the deposit payments. But we also have a group of very, very dedicated education advisors and counsellors that will reach out to you by phone to see if you have any questions and if they can assist you with your application process. So do be expecting a call. It's usually from either an Irish or a UK number. So that's it. So thank you so much. Thank you to Mark in particular, and thank you so much to Mercy. You've been great. Thanks
so much, everyone.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.